Before the episode begins, I'd like to issue a content warning. This episode contains explicit references to date rape. If you'd like to skip past this, please skip to 19 minutes in. Thank you. Vampire War for the Second City is a Vampire the Masquerade 5th edition actual play podcast presented by DM Fiat, with I, Dale, as storyteller. Please be advised that this podcast contains descriptions of gore, depravity, addiction, coercion, and other adult themes. This is not D&D. This is a game where we play monsters of the night who do monstrous things. They're all around you. Welcome back, everyone, to part 2 of the final story arc of our Vampire War for the Second City campaign. Tonight's episode is entitled Sins of the Sire. It's part 2 of Reap the Whirlwind. And it's pretty obvious whose sire we're referring to. But, just as well, we shall begin tonight with a flashback. It is the year 2015. 6 years prior to the events that will unfold later tonight. And we zoom in on Vincent Merriweather. We pre-embrace Vincent Merriweather. He doesn't look much different at all from how he looks in the present day. For tonight, he will receive the embrace and be frozen how he is for eternity. He's wearing his iconic dinner jacket. His hair is immaculately styled for a night on the town. And tonight, Vince is celebrating because he's come into a large amount of money. So, what kind of place would Vince choose to flaunt some wealth in? Mere weeks after becoming a self-made millionaire.
I reckon he's trashy enough that he's at the Crown.
Yeah, he's definitely. Yeah, I can see that. So, we find Vince at the Crown. He's on the casino floor. He's seated at one of the roulette tables. In his right hand, he's got a wine glass filled with... No, not a wine glass. He's got the whole champagne bottle. He's thrown a stack of hundreds on the waiter's lap and asked the waiter to bring out the oldest bottle of champagne they have. It cost a cool 20 grand, but Vince didn't care. So he's got the champagne bottle. The champagne's from the year 1988. And in his left hand, he holds the wine goblet. And he just fills the wine goblet, takes a sip, and then smiles smugly to all the other gamblers at the table as he lays down 5 grand worth of chips, all on black. As the croupier nods and prepares to run the ball through the wheel, Vince becomes aware of somebody shuffling into the seat to his left. Turns and looks and sees a man wearing a very ill-fitting business suit, almost as if this is not his usual form of attire. It hangs loosely over the man's muscular frame, and under the hem of the baggy jacket, Vince can see a gold chain and a pair of silver dog tags. That your 92 CRX outside, by any chance? Says the man as he slaps some chips down on the table. The croupier nods and then tosses the ball into the wheel and it begins running the gauntlet.
You like it?
Yeah. Was admiring it on my way in. VTEC engine. I see you've got a turbocharger. Looks like you have nitrous installed if I'm looking at the right thing underneath. Custom bodywork. Definitely the sort of ride I would expect Vincent Merryweather to be rolling up to the Crown in.
Oh, my reputation precedes me, huh?
The man smiles, his eyes twinkle. He holds out a hand. Elliot Palmer, I run a security firm up in town.
Yeah, Vince would take it. With a very cocky grin.
Elliot smiles and he extracts his hand, and as the wheel continues to run, he watches it. Finally, it comes to a rest in one of the slots on the roulette wheel. 12 black, says the croupier. Vince fist pumps as the croupier pushes a pile of chips in his direction. Nice, says Elliot. Nice, purrs Elliot. Just what I'd expect from Vincent Merryweather. We know you've got an eye for these kinds of things, and you snatch opportunity when it comes.
It's just sort of like, over his drink, looks him up and down and says, "We?"
This Elliot says nothing. He just nods, flashes a knowing smile as he pushes another chip onto the table, points at one of the red places on the board, and the croupier drops the wheel in for a second go. It's hard not to have our eye on you, Mr. Merryweather. You're quite famous at the moment, aren't you? Face on the front page of all the local papers. It's quite a heartwarming story, isn't it? Son of the CEO of Melbourne's biggest construction firm, Merryweather Construction. founded by your grandfather, grown under the guidance of Daddy Dearest, grown into the heaviest hitter in the city, at least in the construction firm. And then Daddy disapproves of his son's lifestyle, he winks, and cuts him out of the family business, disowns him, cuts him out of his inheritance. What is rightfully his, you might say. But, for whatever reason, he still pays your way through uni. Maybe your mum forced him to do it for you. Maybe he just wanted you to be aware that whatever happens in life, you owe him. But you
Look,
took
mate, you're starting to creep me out.
At this, he just chuckles and his smile grows broader, and he says, "Well, I did my homework. You took advantage of Daddy's kind offer. Stayed in uni for 3 years of that business degree. You must have learned some incredible skills, because a semester before you were to graduate, you start stacking crypto assets. Carefully at first. Bit of Bitcoin here, some Ether there, perhaps a little bit of Ripple, just in case. And then you withdraw all of the funds your dad has put aside for your tuition and decide to go all in on Otolly coin." His eyes twinkle. And what do you know? It pays off. Suddenly, here you are, Melbourne's youngest self-made millionaire. At least this decade. "Black," says the croupier.
Vincent sort of puffs his chest out a bit at the mention of being self-made.
Elliot doesn't acknowledge the croupier at all as the man silently reaches over and slides Elliot's pile of chips towards him. "Mr. Merriweather, if you would be so kind as to entertain me for a night, I have a proposition for you," says Elliot.
Vince gives like a cocked eyebrow, but he's not leaving. He says, "I'm listening."
"I represent some people who could do a lot of good in this world if someone with your keen instincts were to come aboard." He slowly turns his head towards you, and as the croupier leans forwards and asks, "Are you making another bet, sir?" he ignores him, and his eyes gaze into yours, piercing your very soul. They seem to flash in the dim lighting of the casino floor. They seem to glow as if they're giving off ambient light of their own. And then Elliot's smile disappears, and in a neutral voice he says, "Let's talk about this away from prying eyes and ears." And Vince, your instincts say no. There is something, some voice deep within you that seems to be repelled by this man. An instinctual, almost animalistic sense that you should get away. But there's something about him. And in spite of all the warning signs, almost as if your body has a will of its own, you find yourself nodding, rising from your seat, and gesturing for him to follow you. Everything after that is a blur. You're vaguely aware of making your way across the casino floor, cashing in your chips, retrieving your night's winnings, and heading down to the parking garage underneath the Crown. Pressing the button on your key ring, unlocking the car, and inviting this man to climb in with you. You're vaguely aware of driving through the city streets, your eyes glazed over as the light from the nearby skyscrapers moves past. And then suddenly, you blink, shake your head, and look around. And you realise where you are. You're in your apartment. Your bedroom, specifically. You're sitting on the edge of your bed, unsure of how you got here, the buttons of your dinner jacket already loose as Elliot stands in the doorway, leaning against it with a smile on his face. Well, Mr. Merriweather, I would have been fine discussing it in the car, but, well, you insisted on showing me your room, showing me what the fruits of your labour have provided for you.
Yeah, I did, didn't I?
You did. You have good instincts, Mr. Merriweather. You know when to grab an opportunity, never to let it go. At this, his eyes seem to flash again. The Ventrue clan will be happy to have someone like you. But first, he steps into the bedroom and raises his hand slowly over his chest towards the top button of his ill-fitting jacket, slides the button through the hole, and in an amazing show of force wrenches the jacket off his chest, tearing the rest of the buttons, each of them popping one by one, revealing his bare, gleaming chest underneath. He says, "Your lifestyle choices, the ones that Daddy didn't approve of. I'd like to know more."
Let's fade to black there.
Yeah. And when Vince regains his senses, he is no longer human. We return to the present. You're all gathered in the parking lot outside the student accommodations, a block away from Melbourne Uni, a block away from the Chantry, where Thornton Adams saw fit to have his intern, Eleanor, live, perhaps unaware of the danger posed by the Tremere, only a city block away. The flickering lights of the flames illuminate the parking lot and Chimera's rusted out Supra. To your left, the dormitory still burns. It's a raging inferno by this point. Anyone or anything still within has no chance of survival. The students are gathered around on the edge of the lot, watching huddled together as the brickwork warps, as the roof collapses in on itself, waiting for the fire brigade to finally arrive as sirens in the distance start to get louder and louder. The Tremere pyromancer, staked, wrapped in a white tablecloth, has been stowed in the boot of the car, and in the back seat, Vince, with a look of raw determination on his face, scrolls through a series of Excel spreadsheets on Hope's MacBook, the USB thumb drive provided by Eleanor slotted in the side. Vince, how many dots in finance do you have?
Just the one.
Just the one. It's enough.
Palmer is a terrible judge of character.
No, it is enough.
For the record, the thumb drive got copied, lickety split.
Yeah, of course. In between sessions, that's what Hope does. It's Hope's MO.
Mm-hmm.
It's... Vince, you're frustrated because you never had the patience to actually learn the specifics of accounting. You always assumed that were you to ever turn your attention to business, you would have employees to do this for you. But if there's one thing you do know, it's how to follow the money. And so follow the money you do. Most of the spreadsheets are routine transactions that you would imagine a company like Adams Investments to have on record. Investment startup capital to various promising ventures. There's even several transactions going years back involving purchasing shares in Magadon Pharmaceuticals. Another nail in Thornton's coffin, as if you needed it. But there's one thing that stands out. One sequence of transactions that isn't like the others. For the last 5 years or so, Adams Investments has been funneling a considerable amount of money into an operation that, quite frankly, in Vince's opinion, is out of character. Thornton's good with money. He doesn't take risks, and that's how he's remained in the position of power that he's in. He only invests in things that are sure to grow relatively quickly, and that he's almost certain will provide a return on investment, will become profitable sooner rather than later. And yet, here's at least $250,000 over the last 5 years that have gone into a community renewal program in Williamstown, deep in Anarch territory on the edge of Hobson's Bay, specifically towards the renovation and construction of what's listed in the documents as a sporting centre. There are photos attached to some of the spreadsheets showing the venture in progress. It's no mere sporting centre. It's more like a stadium, a full-sized playing field, and enough seating for 5,000 people. food court, including an O'Tolly's and several other subsidiaries either owned or funded by Adam's investments attached. It's more like a strip mall than anything. But it's still a very strange investment for Adams to make. And this is almost certainly what he'd entrusted Eleanor with erasing from the records. You've found it, Vince. Smiling in triumph, you motion for the others, and they gather around the car. You point towards the numbers on the screen and describe what you found.
Okay. That's got to be their staging area. That's where they're gathering for tonight. That's probably where they're storing the explosives, unless I missed my guess. They wouldn't want to risk notice by Squizzy when they put them in place, so they'd have to do it all at once. At least that's what I'm thinking. Does that line up with your thoughts?
Yeah, no, that tracks to me.
Okay. We've also got Mr. Bernie Hands. Do we feel it's worth waking him up and having a chat? Somewhere secure?
Yeah. I think we can use everything we can get, really.
Okay, we've got a little time. Okay, we've got a little time. So, where's the nearest secure place?
Well, probably Vince's apartment. QV Melbourne's only a couple blocks from here.
Yeah, even though Vince has been bunking out somewhere else to be safe.
Yeah.
Okay,
He hasn't been here for a couple weeks at this point.
Okay.
This is the one night he's probably not watching it.
Yeah, alright, come on.
Alright.
You hear
I slide.
Yep, go ahead.
I slide into the car, leaving a trail of ash against the back seat. Look down at the couple holes burned through my ribs, going, ugh.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Chimera, as you slide into the front seat, you wince at the trail of ash that Hope leaves across the back. And through the rear view mirror, you see a big gaping hole in Vince's lower torso, in Hope's lower torso. The white of her rib bone clearly visible as the flesh has burned away.
You got roof access, right, man?
Yeah, I do.
Okay, I'm gonna have to do the Disney Princess shit.
This is lost on Vince.
As Chimera turns the key in the ignition and the engine splutters. And then finally roars to life. You hear the drone of a loud horn as two big red fire trucks roll into the parking lot from around the corner, speeding towards the burning dormitory building. The tires of the Supra crunch over the gravel as Chimera guides the car out into the streets. The short distance to QV Melbourne. Will you be parking in the underground car park, Chimera, or would you like to just find a place on the streets?
That is a good question. What's the police presence like at the moment? Because I know we had to go through some checkpoints to get in.
Yeah.
But if they're patrolling, everywhere, then definitely underground somewhere.
Yeah, I'd like you, Chimera, to go ahead and make a wits awareness check for me.
All right. Success of 2.
So as you round a corner and see the glowing tower that is QV Melbourne ahead of you, you have a keen eye that you're watching the rear view mirror with. You see 2 police cars speeding past you, going in the direction of the burning dormitory. You don't see any more police cars out on patrol, but as you guide the Supra towards the tower, you see, parked at the end of the street behind you, a white 4-wheel drive. Its lights are off as it sits in the shadow of another skyscraper. You can just make out the blue font emblazoned across the side of the vehicle reading Palmer Solutions.
Ah, shit. Looks like he's got eyes everywhere at the moment. Must be expecting us.
They don't
So
appear to
not
have
here
clocked
then?
that this is you yet, though. They're probably looking for Vince's car, not Chimera's.
So we might be able to risk the underground park. Give me a second. I'll sense the beast at the car.
Yeah, go ahead.
3 successes.
Very faint aura suddenly lights up in the driver's seat of the van. Not kindred, but at least a ghoul, one of Thornton or Palmer's retainers.
There's ghoul behind the wheel, so...
Yep, no, can't risk staying out in the open. Underground it is.
Yep. So you turn towards the ramp that leads into the dark abyss underneath the building, and as you reach the metal boom gate, Vince slides in his resident card, slides into the machine, and then there's a loud beep as the boom gate lifts up. Vince leans out of the window once again, pulls his card out of the slot, and a few minutes later you've parked the Supra in the furthest, darkest corner of the parking garage from the entrance that you can find. You kill the engine and climb out, your combat boots crunching onto the oil-stained concrete.
Man, this place is fucking gross. Let's get this over with.
It's just sort of coughs.
Alright, man. You know where the cameras are, so... I guess, Derek, can you get the body? I'm afraid bits are gonna snap off me if I exert too hard.
Make your way to the boot of the car, pop it open, and Derek leans down, hoists the Tremere up onto his shoulder. So, Vince, you know where the cameras are. So if you would like to go ahead and make for me a wits plus awareness check with a bonus dice.
Yep. And that will be 4 dice. And that is... what was my hunger at? Because you played last.
Hunger 2, yeah.
Messy 5.
Messy 5.
Okay.
As you
Going good.
stop and look around, pointing out the cameras, one there, and give the rest of the coterie clear directions to get from here to the elevator that leads up into the building, your beast rumbles in the pit of your stomach. It's nearly 10:30 p.m. by this point. You have just over an hour to get to Thornton before his plan comes to pass, and you are growing impatient. This is your chance to get on the Primogen Council. This is your chance to finally climb the ladder, and you're wasting it trying to sneak the body of a torpid Tremere up into your apartment so you can question him. And that's when your compulsion activates.
Good.
For a Ventrue, that is your clan compulsion for a Ventrue. Let me just get that up in the book. Go to the Ventrue page, and it's not here. Interesting.
I believe it's negative clan bane until you can purely give an order and have it be followed.
Yeah, that's right. Yep.
Powers.
Yeah, so your beast is incredibly impatient right now, Vince, and your arrogance compulsion activates. The need to rule rears its head within you. You will stop at nothing to assume command of a situation. Someone must obey an order from you. Any action not directly associated with leadership receives a 2 dice penalty. Hurry up! Vince says, impatient. And I'd like the rest of you to make composure stealth checks with a bonus dice, please, as Vince has pointed out where the cameras are.
Okay. That's 4 dice.
What was it? Composure stealth?
Successive one.
Composure stealth, yep.
Yes, that's 1 for Chimera.
1 for Chimera.
2 successes here.
Oh, with bonus die.
Oh, bonus die, yeah.
Yeah, bonus die.
Derp.
Oof.
Nah, only 2 successes.
Oh, so 3 altogether. So Vince leads the way, walking with a very brisk pace towards the elevator, the rest of you lagging behind him. And when he reaches the elevator door, he stands there facing you, tapping his fingers against the wall behind him, his right foot tapping on the concrete. The elevator doors slide open and you pile inside. And a few minutes later, you're stepping through the doorway of Vince's apartment. It's as well furnished and luxurious as ever, although there's a thin layer of dust over everything within: the floors, the furniture, the huge LCD television. It's been a few nights since Vince has been here, ever since winning one of the Banu Hakim's safe houses in his race against the D's. He's been doing the smart thing. But it'll suffice for your purposes tonight. You throw the Tremere down on the glass kitchen table and extricate him from his wrapping. His dead, stony face gazes up at you, expressionless, unaware that he's about to be interrogated.
Oh. Time is...
Alright, someone get him bound.
Yep. Vince, you point towards the little wardrobe just off the lounge room, between here and your bedroom. There's a coil of rope in there that you've kept for just such occasions as this.
That's totally the reason, yes. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Does anyone do what Vince says?
Come on!
Oh, sure, I'm gonna
yeah,
go get it.
Chimera kind of shakes for a second and hops to go fetch it.
Chimera makes her way to the wardrobe. She pulls it open, and inside Chimera, you find a coil of rope. It's strung over the beam across the top of the wardrobe, and as you extract it, you can't help but notice the leather bodysuit hanging from a rack behind it.
She chuckles to herself as she grabs the rope, and as she heads out, says, "Oh, Vince, I didn't know you had a guest in there already."
Yeah, to special occasions. Can we get this over and done with?
Chimera sets to work, lassoing the rope around the Tremere's ankles and his arms.
As Chimera starts working, Vincent sort of feels tension in his head easing, and he sort of breathes a gentle, quiet sigh of relief, and he's like, "Thanks, Chimera."
Yeah,
Your fault.
and your compulsion passes.
I'll glance at Chimera. This is pretty time sensitive. I'm pretty torn up. Chimera, are you hungry?
Oh God, yes.
After you get that done, let's go to the roof while these guys start the questioning. We can get back in.
Is that okay?
I look toward Vincent. Is it?
Yeah, just go.
Alright.
Chimera just mutters to herself. The rabbit goes round the fence and through the burrow, and tries to remember how to tie knots.
It takes
Hope will help out.
It takes perhaps a slight bit longer than Vince thinks it should, as Hope helps Chimera loop the loops, and finally you tug on the rope, make sure it's secure. All the while, Vince is acutely aware of the clock on the wall ticking closer and closer to midnight. It's already nearly 11:15.
See, this is called Shibari, but don't worry about that too much. It gets the job done. Alright.
Satisfied that the Tremere is secured, you step away, Hope, and begin to lead Chimera towards the entrance of the apartment.
Under her breath,
Yep.
Chimera mutters, "Is that a Tsumitsu thing, or?"
Surprisingly, no, but holy shit, you could do the same thing with tendons. I'm cutting that thought off right now. I'm hungry. Let's go.
Oh
Be
my
careful.
god.
Ugh.
This bitch can set his hands on fire. Just saying.
That's why you've taken great care to bind his hands together so that he has no wiggle room for his fingers.
I think there's something fireproof in the kitchen. Check the drawers.
Cool. Can I borrow that access card? Get to the roof and back.
Vince just sort of puts out his wallet and chucks it to her.
Thanks, man.
As you throw the card towards Hope, Derek shrugs and he starts to search through the drawers in the kitchen until he retrieves a fire blanket and carries it over to the Tremere, draping it over him. Hope and Chimera take one last look over your shoulder at Vince and Derek, hoping against hope that they'll be up to the task. Then you step out of the apartment, make your way up to the roof. Hope swipes the access card through the slot. Beep, beep, click. The door unlocks and you step out onto the smoking area on the roof. The lights of the city just before midnight, bathing you in their glory. Certainly, the view from up here certainly is amazing. That must be why the rent is so expensive.
First check, cameras.
Go ahead, make a wits awareness for me.
Yeah, alright. disguise, and probably 1 success.
1 success. Look around, expecting to see at least one, but the roof appears to be completely free of prying eyes. Makes sense, you think. You'd have to be a resident to get up here anyway.
Yeah, that's true. They're paying a lot of money. Next, check sightlines. Any other buildings watching in?
You look around. This building is taller than most of the buildings in the immediate vicinity. At least a floor or 2 higher. It's unlikely that anyone would be able to see you just by peering out of a window. But there are a couple of buildings further down the street that are high enough that if someone was specifically watching, perhaps with a pair of binoculars or a telescope, they just might be able to see you.
Alright. Well, I'll go around to the other side of the roof access then.
Sure thing.
Put it between me and the buildings there. Okay. Birds. We'll start simple. There's always birds. And I will go ahead and rouse. Not get hungrier.
Ooh, lovely.
And that's 2 successes to call birds.
2 successes. You close your eyes, will the blood to course through your body, and open your lips, releasing a soft bird call. Ah! Ah! You open your eyes, look up, and see 4 particularly large crows descending from one of the taller buildings at the end of the street. After about 60 seconds, they land in front of you, perching on the edge of the roof and silently eyeing the both of you. One of them lets out a loud "Ah!" as you step closer.
Sorry, buddy. 1 for sorrow, 2 for joy, 3 for go, 4 for boy, 2 for you, 2 for me, Chimera.
That sounds pretty fair.
Alright. I'll devour them and try to heal the hole in my side a little.
There's a choked as you descend upon the birds, snatching one in each hand and sinking your fangs into them, draining them of their blood. You each lower your hunger by 2.
And holy
Chimera's
shit, the ag seals right up.
Lovely.
Success on all 3 dice.
Yeah, all 3 dice.
Oh, sweet. Yeah, Chimera's going to do the same for her aggravated as well.
Yeah, go ahead. 3 rouse checks, please.
Just for the one aggravated?
Yep,
Yes.
just for the one aggravated.
Aggravated.
3 rouse
Okay.
checks per 1 point.
1 success.
1 success. Yeah, so you get
So 2 hungrier.
2 hungrier, but that's okay. You just ate 2, so you're back up at 3.
That's where we
That's
started.
fine. And then,
Oh my god, that's so much better.
yeah, you watch as before your eyes the charred flesh sinks into your body and is replaced by clean new skin that grows and folds over the wound. And the lingering pain fades. Hope gathers up the 4 now very flat crows and drops them into her bag.
Alright.
Question. Why are you keeping those?
Because if somebody finds too many bloodless animal carcasses in one place, they start asking questions.
Oh, that's
I
smart.
dispose of them later and nobody blinks.
And,
It's kind of like scooping up dog poop, it's just being neighborly.
and you know, you're not going to admit this to Chimera, but they're also a source of extra biomass for those special occasions when you need it.
I might have a need for feathers coming up, but...
Mi- Yep.
Are you still hungry? Do you want me to try bats?
Chimera kind of looks at her stomach, expecting it to grumble. It doesn't, but she is still definitely hungry.
Yeah, the beast is if you could see the beast in front of you, it would have a look of sheer disgust on its face, shaking its head. You call that blood? Disgusting.
One more go.
If you wouldn't mind, that'd be great, please.
Go
I
ahead,
get a little
Hope.
hungrier. I can get a little hungrier myself. And I only get one success.
Only one success. You sigh and look up into the clouds. You hear another "Ah!" as two more crows descend, oblivious to the fate of their comrades.
All yours, boo. Two for joy.
Chimera bares her fangs and leaps on the birds. Ah! You may reduce
Man,
your
this
hunger
fucking
by...
sucks.
Yeah.
Not to be
Yeah.
rude, but how do you do this every day?
Necessity. Mainly it's been because of the plague. It tastes horrible. But on the weird upside, like gulls eat all the fast food. And when I snack on one, sometimes I can get a hint of taste of like Burger King or O'Dolly's or something. And it's like... And then it's buried by a tide of horrible, but for one split shining second, it brings back a good memory or two.
Same can't
Literal
be...
fast food.
Yeah, fast food. The same can't be said for crows, though. Chimera, you nearly gag as you force these two crows down. They mainly taste like inner city pollution.
Yeah.
You're back down to hunger 1. But your beast rattles its cage. Enough of this! Enough! Bring me a proper meal!
Alright, let's get back to the boys.
Meanwhile...
And I offer some breath spray.
Meanwhile, downstairs in the apartment, Derek and Vincent stand on either side of the kitchen table, looking down at the Tremere. Are you guys ready to do this?
And
Nice.
Vince is drawing his gun.
Just in case. Yep. Pointing it,
So,
training it upon the Tremere's head. As
Lazily, but yeah.
Lazily, just in case, just with one hand. As Derek leans over, grabs the tip of the railway spike, and yanks it. The Tremere instantly awakens. He tries to sit up with a start, but he's bound by the ropes, held flat on the table. The only part of his body that he can freely move is his head. He looks from side to side, seeing both of you there. And bares his teeth. Damn it. Well, you're obviously one of Adams's crew.
Yeah. Yeah, let's go with that. Nah, mate.
that's what we were assuming you were.
And you, he says, as you speak to him, Derek. I recognize you. You're a traitor. You're of the Chantry. You shouldn't be working with him. You should be helping Sire. You should be helping to stop Thornton.
That's what we've been doing. What do you think you're doing?
He bares his teeth at you. What does it look like? The girl who lived in that building was important to Thornton. Somehow, Sire knows that much. So I was disposing of her, just like I did with the lawyer. They're obviously essential to Thornton's plans.
Yeah, okay, Ray Bradbury.
Lloyd. Do you mean that random fire about 2 weeks ago? Was it a week ago?
Yeah, he states it. He states the exact address, and thinking back, that's roughly in the vicinity of where you were. Guy had all of Thornton's legal papers on record. Heard someone got him out of the house before he burnt to death, but that's okay. Everything that was stored on his computer would have went up in smoke.
Okay, so you're the reason I've been in 2 house fires in as many weeks.
So
And
you were
also,
the one who
all
saved
your-
him then?
It would appear so.
Traitor! He spits the word.
And also, I don't know what it is you or Sire think it is that you're doing, but all you're doing is covering Adams' loose ends.
How so? He says, a look of genuine confusion on his face. We know those people were important to Thornton.
You
They
heard
were
of a
probably
witness, mate?
funneling money for him or something.
Alright. Say for a moment that that's true. Wouldn't you want to get information out of him?
Yeah. Raised that point
Yes.
with Sire. He thought it was best to just get rid of them. Figured if we took the time to capture them and interrogate them, there'd be a chance that Adams or that lackey of his, Palmer, would be able to put 2 and 2 together and track it back to the Chantry. No,
That logic
Sire
just
went...
panned out for you. That all makes sense.
Yeah. And yeah, I recognize your face now, he says. Thought I recognized you back in the restaurant, but here, now, in the light, you're Palmer's whelp. So, it's obvious to me that my time is numbered. I've been caught, but if I'm going to meet the final death, I go knowing that I've thrown a wrench into your master's plan. Sire went out on a limb, and it paid off. Whatever the girl and the lawyer had, whatever it was they were keeping safe for Thornton is gone. Nothing more than ash. He smiles in spite of the situation that he's in.
Yeah. Let's say it has, sure. So that means you don't have any idea of what else is going on tonight with Thornton and that? He
Stares back at you, Derek, obviously confused, and he says, "Should I? I wasn't aware tonight was anything special in the scheme of things. Sire sent me to burn that dormitory because we'd just found out that's where the girl was living."
Does everyone in the Chantry just blindly follow orders like this guy, Derek?
The ones who have been properly indoctrinated, yes.
Fuck hell.
"Indoctrinated," he says. "At least I'm not cavorting with traitors."
Yeah, the Red Menace, yada yada yada. So you've got nothing for us then. This was just a complete waste of time, and there's no reason that you're here.
"Let me get this straight," he says. "You're not working with Thornton. That's what I'm starting to get the impression of."
Yeah, finger on the pulse there, mate.
"So why did you try and stop me? If you're
Mate,
working against Thornton, Then why did you save the girl?
Bit slow, isn't he?
So,
Again, witness.
yeah. Remember how they said they had? You said they had information. That information can be used against Thornton, which is why we need it.
Does that make sense to you, mate?
Finally dawns on him. His face
There it
twists
is.
in a mixture of horror and anger, and he says, You mean... Sire had me covering Thornton's tracks?
Yep.
Yeah. Now, it's not to say that he was doing it intentionally, but if he is none the wiser, then it means he's playing right into Thornton's hands.
If he's none the wiser, then... He trails off, and the look on his face, Derek, you can tell that he's waging an internal battle right now. Decades and decades of indoctrination are clashing with the world-shattering realization you've just forced upon him. Finally, he frowns and says, If Sire ordered me to dispose of those people and didn't know he was covering Thornton's tracks, then he's incompetent is what he is.
That's right. Very good.
And so... What then? Why am I here? What do you want from me? He says, and for the first time you see him vainly attempt to struggle against the ropes.
Well, see, the thing is, mate, is we were kind of expecting there to be a rhyme and a reason to you burning down a building. So I'm kind of asking myself the same question.
Are we coming back around then?
Yeah, it's at this point that you hear the door open, and you look over your shoulders as Chimera and Hope step back into the apartment. Ah! Who's that? Says the Tremere,
Who doesn't know
trying
shit?
to strain his neck.
Bernie Flinders doesn't know shit? Ah, god damn it.
He fucking thought he was acting against Thornton, the little dumbass. By the way, does Vince detect any hint of like subterfuge at all?
You can make a wits insight check if you like.
Yeah. Just checking. That'll be 5 dice. 3 successes.
It's quite clear, based on the look on the guy's face, that you've thrown him for a loop tonight. He thought he was just doing his bit to assist Sire in his little feud against Thornton. He thought he was taking out people that were of utmost importance to Thornton's plan. But based on the way his eyes keep darting back and forth, how he cranes his neck to try to get a look at Hope and Chimera as they step close to him, as his body tenses up and he strains against the ropes, it's obvious that he's holding something back. Perhaps he still thinks there's a chance that you're lying to him, trying to flip him to the other side.
Alright, Vince. Yeah. Acting on this, Vince says, Alright, Human Touch. How's tonight gonna go down for you?
Well, if you're not with Thornton, then we're on the same team. I don't see any need for violence. If he trails off as Hope steps into view, and he winces and he says, "With that said, if you just said you weren't working for Thornton, maybe I wouldn't have needed to."
See, I opened my mouth and then there was fire coming toward me, so, But anyway, we're running low on time, so question for you guys. He's a dupe, right?
Yep.
Oh yeah.
Alright, so the two options I'm seeing are Nighty Night again, and a reach for the rail spike, or he comes along and burns some security. What you call?
Yeah, I'm thinking it could be useful.
Sire said the Ventrue would have agents on the streets tonight. I assumed because you were trying to chase me that was you, but I
was just trying to figure out who was burning the evidence we were trying to collect. Yeah, he's got agents everywhere, but they're not looking for the right things. We've also found out that they're gathering in a spot in about an hour to blow up the Brits, so we're on our way to stop that. Are you out or in?
You're not serious.
Yes, we're serious. Are you out or in?
When Sire finds out, he'll...
Are you out or in?
If I say no...
You'll be
What do you
staked and
think,
woken up
mate?
after it's all over.
I'd like Vince and Hope to both make manipulation intimidation checks. If you have awe, Vince, you may add your presence.
Hope is not scary.
So manipulation, intimidation plus or yeah, can do.
Just one though.
Just one.
That's 9 dice and 6 successes.
6 successes. So Hope twirls the railway spike in her hand. He can't even see this because his neck's held down to the table, so it has barely any effect on him at all.
Yeah.
But then Vince leans down over him, activates his presence, and to the rest of you, suddenly Vince seems at least twice his height, towering over everyone there. Peers down into the Tremere's face, and what do you say, Vince?
In or out?
In or out? He's silent for just a second, and then he nods his head as best he can, being held down, and he says, Okay, I'm in. But, look, if we have time, I can get a message to Sire, and he can have the Chantry out in force, and...
There's literally no time. And I reach into his coat and pull out his phone. And until you make good and prove to us you're not a dupe, we can't trust you to do that, so let's go.
So, what? What do you need? You need me to burn something, or...?
Maybe. We don't know yet. We're not sure what we're going into. We're gonna need backup. Britt, come on.
Yeah.
I start untying him.
You untie him, and when he's free, he pulls himself up into a sitting position, raises one of his hands and begins to twirl his fingers. You reach for your weapons.
Vince doesn't. He just gives him a stare.
As he snaps his fingers and a tiny pinprick of flame appears on the end. Do you do anything?
Vince is just like, mate.
He holds out his free hand. Just wait.
Okay.
Twirls the
Vince
finger.
folds his arms.
Twirls the finger with the little flame on the end of it. And then he snaps his finger again, and in a puff of smoke, the flame disappears. Okay. I've got one left, he announces. You want something burned? You gotta make sure you make the right choice. I've only got one more of these that I can use, and then I'm gonna need to do the ritual again, and that can't happen until the sun comes up.
I grab his shoulder. Cool. Talk on the way. Let's go.
As they sort of
Yep.
As they sort of leave the apartment, Vince just sort of jovially explains to him, Look, alright, it's basic diplomacy. Speak softly, carry a big stick. You're the stick.
He just looks at Vincent. He nods. Not sure of whether he wants to say anything at all.
Also, we're pretty sure this is where they're keeping the explosives, so don't go firing off prematurely, Bernie.
You give him the rundown.
And Vince just sort of says, big stick.
He turns towards Hope. Darius, if you please.
Alright. Darius, unless you cheese me off further.
Vince sort of chuckles at the name. He's like, it's always the fucking Tremere.
You fill Darius in on... Is there anything you don't tell him, or do you pretty much just give him the rundown on most of what you've learned so far?
Concerning the Ventrue and Thornton's plan to make Prince go boom. Yeah. Filling him in on that.
So you fill him in pretty much on everything you know about Thornton's plan as you make your way back down to the parking garage, and just as you reach the Supra and Derek steps forward, pulls the back door open and gestures for Darius to climb in. He nods, and before he makes himself comfortable in the car, he looks over his shoulder and he says, "All right. Well then, if it means anything to you, I had a whole list of people I had to go after next. At least 3 ghouls on the list couldn't be accounted for, so I suppose that's what you can expect in the way of security." He slides into the back seat.
Okay, I'll slide in next to him. If it's just ghouls, that's not too bad, but I don't know what else we're gonna come across. So, see what it comes to.
Like I said, if I can help by burning something down, I will. But I can only do it once, and if there was any way we could get Sire involved, then He sees the look that Derek's giving him.
See, the problem is, by doing this, Sire is either proving himself a huge traitor or blazingly incompetent. So, no.
Yeah.
Okay, alright. Let's get it
Not
done.
with an hour left to go.
Let's get it done. On our own. Best of our abilities. And if somehow we make it through this alive, he says, I never want to see any of you again. But
Make no promises.
if it turns out that this is just a case of Sire misreading, miscalculating, he turns to Derek, then I'll back you up on whatever move you want to make.
Well, that's good to hear.
Let's do this, he says. He leans back into the seat and closes his eyes, folds his hands together, and begins to whisper silently. Perhaps preparing his magic for battle. Chimera, the little electronic clock on the dashboard, blinks. 11:01 p.m. Turn the key in the ignition. This time the engine roars to life on the first try, and before long you're out of the parking lot, back out on the streets of the CBD. You've got a long journey to Williamstown. There are a few ways you can get there. The quickest way would be to take the M1, same way you got into town from Adiz's little chop shop earlier this night. But you know the police have checkpoints on all of the major highways out of the CBD.
Yeah.
So you can either brave the checkpoint again and take the shortest route, or you could try to find some other way. Wind your way up through Parkville and then through Maribyrnong, down through Footscray. This will probably add at least another half hour to your travel time, but it might keep you off the Second Inquisition's radar.
Question.
Yep.
What's Darius wearing?
Darius is wearing the pretty stereotypical red Tremere trench coat. He's got the Tremere symbol dangling around his neck as a little silver talisman.
That is exactly what I was worried about. That's not gonna go. That's not gonna fly at a checkpoint. No way.
Yeah.
Good thinking.
Darius, man,
Yeah.
do you have any kind of mask, any kind of fake ID?
He just gives you a strange look, and Derek, you recognize the look he's giving Hope. It's a look that basically tells you in no words that Darius is one of the Ancilla who has spent probably the last 3 or 4 decades of his unlife sequestered within the Chantry. Aside
We
from
already had that
feeding,
sorted.
aside from feeding, he hasn't had to face mortals in pretty much any capacity since his neonate years.
So...
Oh.
no.
Right. So he's a nerd.
No, that's good. But not what we're looking for tonight. Okay. Long
Maybe
way
he probably
around
doesn't have
it
an
is.
ID to begin with.
Step on the pedal as we go.
Alright,
All right.
Yeah.
If anything can do it, it's this.
so you stop for a moment on the side of the road as Hope types up the address of the building right next to you, and then types in the address of the Williamstown Stadium, where Thornton's hidden all of his explosives. Waits about 30 seconds for Google Maps to calculate a route, and it estimates your travel time at 39 minutes, leaving you just 20 minutes to get in and out before shit goes off.
Okay. Long way around it. I will try to use some travel apps to go with the flow of traffic and find ways to minimize, stoplight time.
Alright, so I would ask Hope to make an intelligence technology roll, please.
This may come to nothing. Total failure. I can't do it. Nope,
Yeah.
sorry.
You try recalculating the route, checking some other nearby roads, but the one Google Maps has given you is by far the easiest.
Yeah.
The next possible route would take just over an hour. And so you have no choice but to be committed to the long haul. You start calling out directions to Chimera as she guides the car through the CBD, through North Melbourne, past the turn-of-the-century heritage-listed buildings, through the sleepy suburb of Moonee Ponds, and then down into the industrial wasteland beyond the city reaches. Been travelling for about 20 minutes when Chimera, you become aware of the fact that you seem to be being followed. There's a single set of headlights in the rearview mirror that seems to have been making all the same turns as you, at least since Ascot Vale.
Hey guys, I
Yeah.
think we might not be alone. And she's just gonna jab her thumb backwards at the back of the window of the car.
You all crane your
Back.
necks and peer out the back, you see the headlights she's pointing to, and sure enough, as Chimera turns right into a well-lit main street past a shopping centre on the edge of Footscray, the following car turns onto the street as well, and in the bright light you can now clearly see the Palmer Solutions logo emblazoned on it.
Same feeling of a beast in there. Ghoul. 2 successes.
You wouldn't be
might be
surprised,
a
Hope, if it was the exact same ghoul as before. The driver is indeed surrounded by a faint aura, but an aura nonetheless.
Alright.
Okay. How do we want to do this? We can't take him with us.
Can't we? What's he gonna do? We're pretty sure they know. If they spotted us, we're pretty sure his radio did in. They're gonna know we're coming. If you want, I can try to take out the van on an empty stretch of road. I hold up the submachine gun.
I will say for Vince, with your dots in drive, you would be aware, Vince, that this Supra, if it comes down to it, is probably slightly faster than that big, bulky 4-wheel drive.
Should be a fair bit faster, yeah. My dot in drive, but yeah. I mean, we can outrun him if we need to.
Alright, let's lose him.
This thing's
No
big
time
up,
like the
but
present, then.
Alright.
Still a super.
Chimera's going to boost drive to 1.
So, Chimera, you
and
just
try and get away.
Are you just going to slam your foot full
Yeah,
on
absolutely.
and just speed up and try to get away? Yep, go ahead. Boost drive. Do you get hungrier?
Yep, she gets hungrier.
Hungrier. Ooh, yeah, hunger 2.
That's
Alright.
2.
I'd like you... So, how would you like to do this? Do you want to just try to drive as fast as you can, hoping that you'll outrun them? Or do you want to try to lead them on a chase through, like, side streets and alleyways and hope that they lose you in the confusion?
Well, with the blood-boosting drive, she'd have a little bit better idea of how to handle this. And the first idea that comes to her mind is, since they're going through Maribyrnong, there'd be tons of little sleepy side streets. You
Yeah.
can just duck in quickly, slam down the road, U-turn at some kind of roundabout or something like that, and blast back out, forcing them to kind of slow down in 4-wheel drive. Get a little bit stuck and speed off.
Yeah. Well, that seems like a good plan to me. So go ahead and make a wits drive check for me, please. Wits to find a place suitable to perform this little evasive maneuver.
Success of 2.
Success of 2. So you keep driving at the speed you're at until you reach the end of the street. And then, seeing a little side street off to the left that leads away from the shopping centre back into the suburbs, you slam your foot down on the pedal. The tyres squeal as you swerve into the side street, and sure enough, the engine of the 4-wheel drive roars to life as they begin to give chase. You lead them down the side street, and then when you reach the end of it, with a choice of heading left or right, you grab the wheel and, with all the strength you can muster, slam it to the right, sending your car nearly sideways as it drifts around the corner into the sleepy suburbs.
Damn, girl.
Tokyo Drift.
The 4-wheel...
I actually pay attention when you drive,
the 4-wheel drive... The 4-wheel drive slows a bit slows down to take the sharp corner and starts to lose you as it pulls into the street. You drive right to the very end of the cul-de-sac you're in, and when you've reached the end, you stop, idling, waiting for the four-wheel drive to get closer, preparing to screech around the end of the cul-de-sac and head back the way you came. Go ahead, Chimera, and make a strength drive check for me.
Ooh, that's a little bit more favorable,
To
actually.
force the car back in the other direction.
So I'll reach into a
Success of
pocket,
3.
Yep, and what are you doing,
what's that,
Hope?
sorry?
pull out my last flashbang grenade,
Yeah.
roll the window
Oh.
down just in case. If I get a good opportunity, I'm going to toss it in the windshield.
Yeah, alright. Well,
I honestly had the same thought too.
I will subtract a dice from their dice pool.
But yeah.
You stay there, you sit there, your hands on the wheel, Chimera, and they're trembling. The tension is palpable as the headlights get closer and closer and closer. And finally, when the car is about 5 or 6 meters behind you, you slam your foot on the pedal and wrench the wheel to the left as hard as you can. You hear the squeal of the wheels on the asphalt, and everyone in the car is jostled sharply to the left. Darius slams his head on the side of the window, swearing loudly as you pull the car into a sharp U-turn, and as the four-wheel drive comes to a dead stop, you start to speed back down the cul-de-sac the way you came. You pass the four-wheel drive and catch a glimpse of the ghoul driver, his face screwed up in frustration as he tries desperately to wrangle the wheel, spinning it to the left as fast as he can, but the four-wheel drive is nowhere near as nimble as this little sedan that you're driving.
Chimera laughs manically and gives him a finger out the window as she goes past.
And as you do this, Hope rolls down the window and, priming the flashbang, tosses it. It lands with a clatter on the windshield of the four-wheel drive and begins to roll down the hood when bang! It goes off. So that takes their dice pool down from 6 to 4, and they roll 1 success.
Yeah.
The engine of the Supra roars as you reach the end of the cul-de-sac and sharply turn left. And there's no sign of the four-wheel drive. Just to be safe, when you reach the next turn, you go right instead of left. Instead of heading back down the main street past the shopping centre, you make your way through the suburbs a few minutes longer. And when you emerge in the middle of Footscray, speeding past the train station, there's no sign of your pursuers.
Oh my god, that was so much fun. I'm doing this again. We're all doing this again.
I'm down. Under less of a time crunch. Yeah, I'm down.
Vince just sort of gives her a look that she'll know how to interpret.
The rest of the drive is relatively uneventful. You cross over into Newport from Footscray, and the gentrification of Footscray gives way to run-down, early 20th century houses, decommissioned factories, rusted warehouses. And finally, you're coming into Williamstown. It's mostly old shipping yards, filled with rusted shipping containers, tufts of grass pushing through the cracked concrete wherever you look. You see a couple of people making their way along the sidewalk. A woman in grey rags pushing a shopping trolley, and a bare-chested, heavily tattooed man who shouts something incomprehensible and wolf whistles the car as it speeds past.
Oh, he's ambitious.
And then suddenly, the urban blight disappears in the span of a single block. The run-down buildings that are collapsing under their own weight, the downtrodden, miserable atmosphere is dispelled by Thornton's urban renewal project. The road here is cleanly paved, the potholes filled, the footpath is smooth, glows bright white in the lights of the car. There's not a single blade of grass or weed or crack to be seen, and looming over it all is the huge postmodern utilitarian monstrosity that is the Williamstown Stadium. The construction seems to have mostly been completed, but there's still a chain link fence running along the perimeter of the lot. Vince grumbles as you drive past a metal sign attached to the fence that reads Merryweather Construction Proprietary Limited. You can see some scaffolding here and there, set up along the sides of the stadium. There's a couple of construction vehicles just beyond the fences, but for the most part, it almost looks as if the construction site is just a facade. The building itself is fit for purpose. What would you like to do?
We need to park and get in and find out where we need to be and what we need to do to stop this. That about sum it up?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's not going to be that simple, though, is it?
Derek, can you throw us a premonition?
Yeah, should be able to.
Yeah, go ahead.
Alright.
Yeah. Browse. Oof, failure, so I get hungrier.
While he does that, I'm gonna whistle up some rats. 4 successes on that.
Ooh, nice.
Evidently they haven't poisoned all the vermin about.
Alright, so I presume, Chimera, you don't want to drive too close to the lot. You want to ditch the car maybe a street or two away and approach on foot?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So Chimera turns off the road and drives up the long driveway of a set of flats, parks up the car alongside the station wagon belonging to one of the residents and kills the engine. And just as you're about to climb out, Derek feels something tugging at the back of his mind. He closes his eyes and lets the premonition take over. You're walking as a group through the construction site, across the uneven terrain, over the piles of gravel and dirt, and towards the rolled up loading entrance at the back of the stadium near the food court. There's no signs of life, and so you're utterly surprised when you hear a loud crash catch a flicker of movement from the corner of your eyes. You look up, Derek, just in time to see a collection of steel girders and blocks of concrete tumbling down from the scaffolding above towards you. You shake your head and blink. You're once again sitting in the back of Chimera's car.
Yeah. Ooh, okay.
That doesn't sound positive. What did you say?
So there's a... We head for a roller door around the back. We don't see anyone, but then as we go through the door, a bunch of steel and concrete collapse from the scaffolding on top of us.
Ooh, how medieval.
There.
We've got somebody above. Can I switch from rats to bats?
Yeah, sure. As you pop open the doors of the
4
Supra,
successes on that.
step out onto the concrete, you hear the flap of wings above you and hope. You look up to see 6 furry, dirty-looking bats swooping down from the overhanging power lines.
Alright.
Chittering as they approach you.
Let's get going towards the back door. Derek, stop us before we get to the girder spot, and I'll have the bats watching from above.
Yeah, sure.
I'll send them out to go scout and come back to me with knowledge of whoever's up there.
The bats
Yeah,
let
should
out
be
a
okay.
shrill as they flap their wings and disperse into the blackness above, almost invisible unless someone were specifically looking for them.
He was
And-
right to use bats.
As you approach the lot, I'd like everyone to make a wits awareness check for me.
You got it.
Ooh, foreboding.
I've got the usual powers cycle.
Very foreboding.
Okay.
3 successes.
1.
No.
Critical 6.
Ooh, yeah, Chimera's... This is what Chimera's good at. She's a gangrel.
Can I check my heightened senses on that,
You
or...?
sure can. You can chuck your heightened senses on.
You should. Good stuff then.
Only 2 successes from me.
Still a fair bit. Still more than 6 altogether. Well, 6 just with Chimera. Everything after that is a bonus. I'll give you extra information. So as your footfalls crunch on the freshly paved asphalt, you draw nearer and nearer to the chain link fence that surrounds the lot, and doing your very best to stick to the shadows of the houses and businesses across the street from the lot itself. You spend 10-15 minutes doing a lap around the perimeter of the lot, trying to take in whatever you can. And approaching from the front, the lot appears to be pretty much devoid of life. Aside, the construction vehicles beyond the fence are dark, asleep. The scaffolding appears to be abandoned. But as you round the corner and start to survey the back of the stadium, the one that faces out onto the main road, you see that even though you lost the 4-wheel drive earlier, they must have surely sent word that you would be coming. The main entrance of the stadium, a set of 4 glass doors that faces the parking lot and the main street, is guarded by 6 men. They're all dressed in camo cargo pants and thick overcoats, openly clutching rifles and shotguns as they stand in front of the main entrance, scanning the road and the parking lot for intruders. Further beyond that, however, around the next corner is the loading entrance for staff that leads into the food court. This must be what Derek was referring to. There's a big metal garage door that's rolled up. Everything on the other side of it shrouded in pitch blackness. A single truck is parked up in front of the entrance, the back door open, and occasionally you see men in orange high-vis vests grabbing crates of something out of the back of the truck and carrying it beyond the threshold of the loading entrance. You see a couple more men wearing camo and overcoats, brandishing shotguns. Only two, and these ones don't seem to be standing guard. Rather, they're doing a patrol of this area of the lot, passing by the truck and the loading entrance about once every 2 or 3 minutes. In between this, they head around the corner of the stadium and are obscured in the shadows.
And what do the bats see?
As you finish your surveillance of the perimeter, you hear the flapping of wings once again, Hope, and standing in the shadow of a nearby laundromat, hold out your arm as the 6 bats flutter down and perch on it. Turn your head towards them, look into their eyes, and the vision of what they've seen floods through your mind. Flashes of black and white, grainy footage, almost as if it was taken with a military drone. The guards' patrol patterns lit up in trails of infrared. The bats tell you that there appear to be 10 guards altogether. 6 guarding the main entrance, 2 doing a patrol past the loading dock, and with what the bats have seen, it's obvious to you that it takes about 3 minutes for them to complete their patrol, giving you a window of about 60 seconds to get towards that entrance without being seen. And 2 more guards that you didn't notice on your walk around the lot. One on each side of the stadium, perched up in the seats, peering out onto the parking lot and the street that runs along the back of the stadium. Sniper rifles at the ready.
Are these likely the ones who dropped the girders on us?
Yeah, seems likely.
I'll pass on this information to the others. Okay.
In fact, you're almost certain of this, as one of them, the one who seems to be keeping an eye on the loading entrance, is perched almost coincidentally right above a set of scaffolding, and from where he's set up in the seats, all he has to do is reach over and cut one rope to send it all tumbling down.
That's our boy. Okay, how do we want to play this?
Darius folds his fingers together as he peers at the stadium. He says, if you want a distraction, I could, get that truck burning. Flame will hit the gas tank. Big boom! And all the guards
Wait a
will go
minute,
running,
hold on,
I
buddy.
guess.
if they're unpacking boxes from that truck and they're storing explosives here, I'm gonna give you a second to put 2 and 2 together.
That might be too much of a distraction.
Big
Also too much
boom,
clutter.
Darius says. Okay, maybe
I like
not
your
the...
style. I like your style, but time and
Yeah.
place.
Okay,
So
maybe
then
not
again-
the truck, but he
Something
points
else.
across the street beyond the chain link fence towards the empty parking lot. You can see a ticketing booth with a boom gate. When this stadium is operational, it's the place where people will have to drive through, purchase a ticket from the gatehouse to be granted access to the parking lot. There's no one in it right now. It's completely empty. The stadium's not yet operational. But it doesn't look like there's anything particularly flammable either within the gatehouse or around it.
Alright, I'm thinking that might be the way to go. Why don't we time things? When the time's right, you do that, then beat feet back to the car. And wait for us. I'll use the bats to distract the guard up on high, and we'll try to dash through the loading dock. I'm gonna try to disable the truck as I go, so they can't drive off with explosives. That work for everybody?
Okay.
Yeah.
Darius shrugs.
They already know
If
we're
you're
coming,
happy
so
with
there's
it-
no reason not to get loud.
Remember, I've only got one flame left. If I set fire to that thing, and you get into trouble in there, I can't come to your rescue.
That's why we're having you go back to the car, buddy. That work for everyone?
Yep.
Question: are they unloading the truck or loading the truck?
They seem to be unloading it.
I'm
You can-
betting they've got like a secret tunnel that they're running the explosives down.
Yeah, you watch now and you see 2 men in high-vis vests emerge from the loading dock, and one of them jumps up into the back of the truck and carefully lowers a wooden crate out of the back. The other man grabs hold of it, and then the man in the truck jumps down, and the 2 of them start carrying the crate into the blackness beyond the loading entrance.
There's no need to disable the truck. This is the end point. This is the delivery point for the explosives. Alright. We ready?
As ready as I'll ever be, says Darius, but remember, you owe me for this.
Actually,
I'll
maybe
forgive
there's
you
a
the
way we
holes
can
in,
still use
buddy.
the truck as a distraction.
Oh yeah? How so?
If we break into the front, drop the brakes, set it rolling, and set it on fire somewhere down the hill, that could be a good distraction. Somewhere far away from the rest of the explosives. We don't want the whole place going up.
What's down the hill?
Well, it's just, I think what Alt's trying to say is that the truck won't be in close proximity to the stadium, so there's no chance of, igniting anything in there. And
Yeah, that's
causing
more
a
what I
big
was
boom.
implying.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. There's no houses or like baby nurseries down at the bottom of the hill. Okay.
Old folks' homes.
Well, there's,
Yeah.
orphanages. You're currently, crouching in the shadows in a little alleyway just outside a laundromat. Most of the buildings on this side of the street appear to be businesses, and they're closed for the night. You'll still probably be destroying people's livelihoods, but it's unlikely that there'll be collateral damage in the form of lives lost.
And better insurance than... Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Better insurance than leaving a shit ton of explosives on your back. I like this idea. Who wants to sneak over there at Truck Jack?
Who has the highest stealth, I think, is the biggest question. Actually, we could send Burning Man over to do it.
Drive the truck and then blow it up once he gets it out of the lot.
Yeah, and dive out
Actually,
and roll or
that's
something.
not a
Oh my god,
horrible
we're continuing
idea.
with the fucking Terminator theme. Too hard, guys.
How sneaky are you, Darian?
So I will tell you Darius has 1 dot of stealth.
Oh.
It's more than Chimera has.
Right, not Darius.
I've got
He has
5
1 dot of
dots
stealth
throws.
and 3 dots of dexterity.
So I've got 3 dexterity and 2 stealth. I can boost it up, and I've got bats to refuel if I need to. Okay, I'll do it.
Alright, and the bats have also allowed you to determine the exact window when you're least likely to be seen by the patrolling guards. So, if you follow what the bats tell you, I will add a bonus dice to anyone attempting to get from here to the truck.
Alright, now when the truck takes off, you all need to get into the loading dock. I'm going to swap faces and catch up with you later. Do you want to... The truck will probably be a bit of distraction on its own. Do we still wait to the ticket booth, or do we want to keep Darius with us?
Darius smiles, his eyes twinkling. He says, I could wait here, wait for you to get the truck out through the gate, blow it up out here, have them all running through the gate.
Alright, but... you'd best wait till I get clear, buddy. Alright.
So as soon as everyone hears the big boom and sees the guards running, that's your chance.
Yep.
Alright,
Yeah.
I'll sneak in later.
Hope, go ahead and make for me a dex stealth check, and you get an extra dice.
The recognition word is kumquat. Alright. Well, first I'm gonna rouse, so my dexterity goes up. Three successes.
3 successes.
I'm
Okay.
going to willpower that just in case.
Yeah, just in case.
And bump that up to 5.
5 successes, okay. So I'm gonna roll for the guards. Good thing you willpowered. 3 successes from the guards.
Yeah. Do the solid snake thing.
So you wait for the 2 guards to come by the loading dock once again, and once they've disappeared around the corner of the stadium, you glance at the others, silently wishing them good luck, and having the same looks returned back to you. And then you dash across the street, duck under the boom gate next to the ticketing booth, cross the car park, and sticking to the shadows, press yourself up against the side of the truck, shimmying along it. And Hope, when you get to the cab of the truck, if your heart was still beating, this is where it would miss a beat. There's someone sitting in the cabin, in the driver's seat, absent-mindedly tapping his fingers on the dashboard. His head bobbing as he dances along to the music playing out of his earbuds.
5 successes to sense a beast.
He is not kindred, nor is he ghoul.
Alright.
Nice.
Sounds like
I'll rap on the
Suppose
glass
we'll
to
then.
get his... I'll rap on the glass to get his attention.
Yep. So
And
conscious.
say,
Yep.
hey buddy, scoot over, shut up, and follow me as fast as I can when I run.
So consciously aware of the fact that you've got about 20 seconds left before the guards return, you step up to the cab, rap on the window. It takes a couple of attempts to get his attention, and then he finally sees you, and as he sees you, you pull the door open and tell him to shove out of the way. He looks at you, his eyes wide, and you could see his brain cells communicating, telling
I do
him
get
that he should be raising an alarm. Go ahead and make a charisma persuasion check for me.
Oh no, this is mesmerize.
That's memory. Ah, you're dominating him. All right, go ahead.
Yep, and I'm
Rouse
getting
check.
hungry. Yep, I get hungry.
Yep, he's not at all prepared for this. He opens his mouth and the vein in his forehead throbs twice, and then he nods and scoots over to the passenger seat, giving you free rein of the driver's side. And then you turn the key in the ignition, and as the engine roars to life, you slam your foot on the pedal, and the hulking beast of a truck begins to slowly make its way across the car park towards the gate.
Oh, I go and squeak at the bat swarm. Send
Yep.
all 6 of them to go attack this guy watching the loading dock.
Over the din of the engine, you're vaguely aware of someone shouting, "Hey! Hey! Getting away! You're getting away with the truck!" And then you see all 6 bats swooping down from the sky above, and in the very corner of the rear view mirror, you can see the silhouette of a guard standing atop the scaffolding. He's raising his gun, trying to get a fix on you into the truck, when the bats swarm down on top of him, and he starts struggling, whacking at them with the butt of his rifle. You ram the truck through the boom gate, crash, and it rolls down onto the street. And as it does, you see Darius sprinting out of the shadows next to the laundromat towards you. He snaps his fingers, and you see the flame appear in his fingers.
I'll slam cruise control, slam open the door, grab the guy, and jump for dear life.
Yep. Darius gives you just enough time to get yourself clear as you grab the driver by the arm and force him into the alleyway where the rest of the coterie waits. The fireball grows large in Darius's hand, and then he hurls it towards the truck as the truck slowly rolls to a stop. His aim is dead on. The flames hit the side of the gas tank, and for a brief moment, you see a look of utter shock on Darius's face as the gas tank ignites far quicker than he expected. He hits the dirt as boom! The truck explodes, instantly turning into a fireball. You guys are all far enough away that you don't have to roll frenzy checks. But Darius lies face down in the asphalt mere meters away from the conflagration, and he is going to roll for a frenzy check.
That's fine, he served his purpose, now he can run away.
Luckily, he has 7 willpower right now. He gets 5 successes. You see him hesitate, twitch, as he fights his beast, and then he scrambles to his feet, turns, looks in your direction, gives you a curt nod, and then sprints away in the direction of where Chimera's car is parked, disappearing around the corner.
Alright.
In the distance, you hear the footfalls of at least 7 men, as you see guards clad in camo sprinting across the car park towards the flaming truck. One of them holds a radio to his mouth. He's receiving orders from somebody and barking orders to the rest of them. And with your sense the beast, Hope, you detect that 2 of the men in the group, including the one receiving orders from the radio, are ghouls. The rest of them mortal.
This is our shot. Take a look at the driver. Does he by chance have an earring or braces or anything?
Yeah, he's got a stud in his right earlobe, and he's just standing in the mouth of the alleyway, staring at the burning truck open-mouthed.
2 hands go out, 2 hands draw him in, and 2 fangs go in.
How much do you take? 2 points?
2 points. So tell him forget, and then go, I'll catch up.
He looks at you, his face pale, his eyes dazed from the feeding, and then as you whisper, "Go! Go!" a third time, he shakes his head and then nods and turns and dashes
And
away
forget
into
about
the
me.
shadows.
Forget and go. Let's go.
"Fan out, men! They're somewhere around here! Okay, I want you to take the left side of the street. You there! Watch for anyone coming from the right!" barks the ghoul with the radio as the guards reach the flaming truck and begin to fan out, covering the street. None of them seem to be facing your direction, at least not at the moment, but this could change at any second.
Which is why we are beating feet toward the loading dock.
Yep, so I would like everyone to go ahead and make a strength athletics check for me. Actually, sorry,
Catch up
dex
with
athletics.
Okay. Still boosted on that. Okay. And the bats should still be after the
Yeah,
guys.
bats are
6
still-
is no matter.
Success of 3.
Success of 6. I'll be happy.
I'm sorry, what was the roll?
Dex athletics.
Yeah, that's
Only one
5
success
guys.
from my end.
and 2 on mine.
Derek skips cardio day.
It's okay, he's got strength. So that's 3. How much did you get, Chimera?
3 also.
3. And how much did Hope get?
6.
6, okay. That's more than enough.
At this point, I'm thinking Darius has served his purpose. I'm gonna tell him, if you want to go back to the car,
He's already run off. No need.
okay.
He's gone. He knows he served his purpose, and he's made himself scarce. He's hiding back in
Bad
Chimera's
behavior,
car.
TBH.
We also don't want a witness, so we can talk for now. This, alright.
So sensing the opportunity, you run for it, emerging from the shadows, dashing across the road. There's one guard, and he must catch either your footsteps or the feel of the air whooshing behind him. He whirls around. "Someone there!" pointing his gun at thin air. A full second after you've already cleared the street and are running across the car park towards the open loading entrance. Above you, you can hear the flap of the bat's wings as the man perched there desperately tries to fight them off. "Ah! Get away! Get away! Fuck! Not my face! Not my face! Ah! Ah!"
Rats with wings, do you think?
And then you step over the threshold into the pitch black on the other side of the loading dock. It's not too dark that you can't see, but it takes a few seconds for your eyes to adjust to the small amount of ambient light. And when they do, you find yourself standing in what appears to be an empty food court. There's an O'Tolly's, a pizza tent, a burger bell, iron shutters pulled down over each of these stands. The tables and chairs have been shifted away to one side of the court, and the floor space itself appears to be taken up almost entirely by stacks upon stacks of wooden crates. Before you can take a closer look or decide what to do about them, however, from behind one of the stacks emerges the 2 men in high-vis vests. They see you standing there. One of them opens his mouth in shock, and his right hand fumbles towards his belt, where he has a handgun clasped in a holster.
How close are they?
Oh, they're about 5 meters away.
Oh,
Not too far.
shit. Yeah, I'm just gonna.
You're in the entrance. You're in the entrance of the food court. They're, about halfway through the food courts, 5, 10 at most meters.
I'm gonna rush them. And do these guys give off ghoul smell, or...?
They don't smell like ghouls. Your sense of the beast lasts for a scene, doesn't it?
I don't remember, but yeah.
Well,
I'll
just say you have your sense of the beast still active, and you can determine that they are mortals, not kindred or ghouls.
Chimera's going to instinctively rush them as well.
Rush the other guy. Yep. So Hope takes the one who's drawing the gun. Chimera rushes the other one.
Yep.
All right. So I'd like both of you to make Dex brawl checks for me.
Gonna try to slam the side of my hand into his throat.
Now these guys are probably not trained security guards, so they're not going to be quickest on the draw.
Success of 5.
And they are surprised.
Success of 4.
Success of 5, success of 4. Okay, so they roll 3 and 4, respectively. So the one who's drawing his gun, he's just managed to clear leather before Hope rushes him, slams her hand into the side of his throat, and he lets out a gasp as she pushes him into one of the wooden crates. Meanwhile, the other one's just starting to reach for his own weapon when Chimera dashes forwards and slams her fist into the front of his chest. You hear something crack, Chimera, as he goes down out cold in a single blow.
That'll be the lethal bloody doing its work.
Says the man who's being held by Hope. He opens his hand and the gun clatters to the ground.
Good. Go to sleep, I tell him, and I'll rouse the blood. And not get hungrier as I mesmerize him.
His eyes roll back in their sockets and he slumps down against the crate, unconscious.
I'll take the gun.
Yep.
Grab the vest, too.
2 high-vis vests.
I'll slide it on and slap my face to look like him. Alright, let's go.
Yeah, go ahead. Rouse to do your vicissitude.
I'll take
un momento.
Yep,
Un
what do you
momento,
want
por
to do?
favor, and I will...
Oh, sure.
I'm just gonna... Derek will stop for a moment to take a drink from one of them,
Ah, good idea.
because I'm currently at hunger 4.
As the man slumps down the side of the crates on Hope's order, you rush up, catching him, sinking your teeth into his throat, and he moans in his sleep as you take your fill and withdraw your fangs, licking the side of his neck to close the wound.
That's fine. That'll give me time to swap out like shirt and pants. Well, coat and pants anyway.
So, now that you seem to be relatively undisturbed, you can have a look around the area. There's no roll necessary to determine what's in the crates. All you have to do is lift up the lid of the closest one and peer inside, and find it filled absolutely to the brim with what appears to be bricks of plastic.
That's why it didn't go up when it was set on fire, okay. If the movies have told me the truth. But where are they taking them? There's got to be some place. Or is this just the gathering place? There's got to be something.
On the other side of the food court, there's a narrow corridor that leads away further into the stadium, and you could see yet more crates pushed up against the walls, just visible on the very edge of this dimly lit area.
Alright. I'll grab a crate and start heading that way. Chimera, you got the other vest?
Seems like a weird time to be a highly visible vampire, but she just dons it anyway.
Yep.
You're
What
pretty
about-
distinctive, but this might buy us a few seconds.
So what about Derek and Vincent, though?
Hmm.
Well, if we come across any, give us a bit of a head start. If we come across any more, we'll subdue them and give them your vest. Give you their vests.
Yep.
Easy. We'll head back now.
Yeah.
So, lead on, says Derek, pointing towards the corridor, as Chimera and Hope, now clad in the orange high-vis vests, lead you across the empty food court and further into the stadium. The corridor itself has barely any room for you to move. You have to start moving in single file to squeeze past yet more crates of explosives. But after a few minutes, you finally clear the area where the explosives are stored and step out of the corridor into what appears to be the main lobby area of the sporting centre. There's a reception counter, ticketing booth, another iron shutter rolled shut over it, an LCD screen above it that, if this place was operating, would probably display ticket prices, the names of the teams competing, what game they're playing, and other useless trivia. And there's a series of iron railings running through the middle of this area for people to queue up. Suddenly, you hear someone call out, "Hey, truck empty!" And over the other side of the reception area, standing in a doorway that leads into the playing field itself, stand two more men in orange high-vis vests.
Okay. Almost. Hey, come here. Don't want to shout.
Go ahead and make a charisma performance check for me, please, Hope.
Acting.
Yes, it is acting.
Oh, for the love of it, come on. It's being persnickety. 2 successes.
Tell me about it, says the man. Been shouting all fucking night. You'd think these jarheads would know how to take orders, but as he and the other man step through the doorway into the queuing area, they see that you're not who they expected to see. The man who was shouting to you holds out his hand and he says, "Hey, you're not..." As his partner begins to fumble for the sidearm strapped to his belt.
I slap Chimera and point at sidearm guy and look at the shout and say, "Go to sleep."
Yep. Go ahead, rouse the blood.
Success! Man.
He doesn't get his
This
next
is a good
words off as he slumps immediately
I'll catch
to
him
the
before he
floor,
gets his-
hitting the front of his head on one of the iron railings as he goes down, leaving a spot of blood on the tiles. Meanwhile, Chimera rushes towards the guy who's trying to draw his gun, and because of Hope's deception, he counts as surprise, so that's a penalty dice for him. Go ahead and roll a strength brawl check for me, please, Chimera.
Critical 6.
Critical 6. He rolled 2 successes. You vault over the
Jesus
iron
Christ.
railing, rush towards him, grab him by the neck, and slam him down on the nearby railing. So that was a critical 6, and he got a 1 success. You have lethal body active, I believe?
That's just a passive, right?
It is just a passive, yes.
Indeed it is then. There is no choice.
So-
Oh my god, this poor guy.
Your intention is just to knock him out, But as you slam his skull against the iron railing, you hear a sickening crack, and then he lets out a death rattle as blood begins to pour out of the side of his head. His body spasms once, and then he falls limp in your hands. As you lower him to the ground, you realise that there's shards of bone and brain matter splattered on the side of the railing.
Well, you want to get his vest off quick before he starts spurting and makes it dirty.
Chimera quickly stuffs the gun in the back of her waistband and strips him, trying not to look him in the eyes. And takes a moment to go and punch the concrete over in the corner.
Yeah.
It happens.
Punching it with such force that you leave a crack in the newly built concrete walls.
These guys knew they were doing illegal shit. And I tossed my vest to Vince.
Yep.
Vince catches it and, just solemnly puts it on.
Derek steps up to Chimera and silently lifts her vest off her, sliding it over his own body. Chimera, you sigh, shake your head, and calm yourself, taking a second to ground yourself in the here and now before you make your way over to the man whose life you just snuffed out, and take his vest, sliding it over your body.
It happens. I'm sorry.
She takes a moment to close his eyes. And kind of walks off.
His right eye closes quite easily, but his left eye seems to be bulging out of its socket from the force, and it takes concerted effort for you to drag the eyelid shut over it.
Jesus.
Yeah, she's going to be storming off ahead of everyone. She doesn't want them to see her.
But you're all now in disguise. So, you can head into the game area, or you can head into the admin offices behind the ticketing area. There's a small little metal door. But these men came from the game field.
Game field's probably the place. That's where I'd put a secret tunnel.
Yeah.
Yeah,
In an area would have cameras. We don't have much time, though. Do we?
Yeah. You're not sure how modern this place is, considering it's mainly just a front for Thornton to store his munitions. But if this were an operating stadium, there would almost certainly be cameras in the field to record gameplay.
Your call, guys. Try to spare some time at the admin or go straight to game field.
Probably want to just go straight to the game field
Yeah.
and hope
It
that
is impatient. It's like, let's just get this shit done with.
Yep.
Yeah.
Won't really matter
Chimera's
if you're
not
caught on
listening.
camera if you get who you're coming for, so
I was going to say, Chimera's not listening, so she just heads towards the
yeah.
game field.
Chimera just
Alright.
steps over the man and starts walking with purpose towards the open doorway. You all exchange glances and follow her. And when you step through the doorway, your footfalls begin to squeak as you step out onto a wooden floor that's polished to a mirror sheen. The entire game area is indoors, like a basketball court. The floorboards squeak and groan as you walk over them, and you're just vaguely aware of the shape of the seats off in the distance, towering over the field itself. In the middle of the field, hunched over yet another pile of wooden crates, is a single figure. And Vince, you're not 100% sure, but you think you know the cut of your sire. And this broad-shouldered, heavily built man wearing camo pants and a long grey security overcoat must surely be Elliot Palmer. As he hears your footsteps squeaking on the court, he stands up, and as he turns around, he says, "This is the last box, I believe?"
Vince activates Dawn.
It takes him about half a second to realise who you are. But this is long enough that if you want to get the drop on him, you can.
I slide to Vince.
The first thing he sees is the high-vis vests. It takes a full third of a second for him to actually see your faces in the dim
Vince
light.
is going to very immediately fire a shot directly into his chest.
Yeah, alright.
Chimera's going to do the same.
Yeah.
So Chimera, you're going to
Love a
rush
good
him.
couple.
So Hope's gonna start running to the side just in case he's got grenades and take a shot as well.
Yep, alright. So Hope and Vincent are shooting. Chimera, you're rushing him. Like just rushing up to punch him, I presume.
Oh no, she's shooting as well.
Shooting as well, alright. And Derek, what are you
Eyes
doing?
Eyes are shut, by the way.
Yeah, echolocation's on for Hope. So Hope, you can see him perfectly. And Derek, what are you doing?
Seeing two of them pull out their guns, I'm going to take a step back and then focus and begin to start scorpionating some of my blood.
Ah, yes.
Sorry, two men.
Raise your wrist to your mouth. Cut into it with your fangs, and as you lick the blood and it sizzles on your tongue, you begin to recite the incantation. So go ahead and rouse the blood for me, Derek, and it'll take a round for you to prepare the scorpion blood.
Yep. There's a fail on the rouse check.
Yep, so you get hungrier, but that's fine, you just fed. Meanwhile, I would like Hope, Vincent, and Chimera to make composure plus firearms checks for me, please.
Composure? Okay.
Yeah, Chimera's going to be activating toughness and approaching while she takes a
Are
shot.
you okay with me like buffing composure before I roll that?
Yeah, I'll let you do that.
Cheers.
She gets hungrier for the toughness.
So I'm not gonna buff.
Gets hungry as well. And
But I
then
do get 2 successes on the pew pew.
that's 5, 3 hunger. That's 3 successes.
That's 0 from Chimera.
Sorry for Chimera, she's not good with
She's
guns.
not the best with a gun.
Hope, how do you go?
2 successes.
2
Dice pool of
successes.
3, I'll be happy with that.
Okay. So Vince, you have Daunt active, which means that he needs to pass a check in order to attack you. Which, what does he need to do? He needs to beat Resolve plus Composure. So I'm going to have him roll Resolve plus Composure. He only gets 1 success on that.
Yeah.
So as you raise your guns and begin to fire, he reaches into his coat and with blinding speed pulls out a military assault rifle. At first, you think it's something like an AK-47, but then you realise it's something much, much older. It's a World War II era Thompson. He whips it out, immediately points it at Vincent, and as his finger tightens on the trigger, there's a split second of hesitation. And then he turns it on Chimera instead and fires. So that
She's got toughness. She can take it.
She's got toughness, so that will be 4. So he gets a dice pool of 9 due to his specialty in rifles.
Jeez.
So that is 7 successes on his Thompson. How many did you get on your... You got 0. So, Chimera, I would ask you to activate your toughness, please. Make a rouse check.
She already has.
She already has. What is your
She got
fortitude?
hungry. Went to 3.
Yep.
Fortitude.
How many-
Where is that?
How many dots do you have?
Two.
2. Okay, so 5, half to... Yep, so you take 3 points of superficial damage as his silenced Thompson riddles you with bullets, each of...
Silence, nonsense.
He knows what he's doing, and he's... takes him only a split second to get into the action. He riddles Chimera's torso with bullets and then quickly whirls around to defend himself from Hope. And he's going to make a Dex Athletics check to try to jump out of the way of both Vincent and Hope's. And he gets full dice pool on Vincent because he fired first, and 1 less on Hope. So that'll be 6 for Vincent. So that is 2 successes. How many did you get on your firearms check, Vincent?
3.
3. And for Hope, that is 4 successes.
I miss.
He dodges out of the way with supernatural speed as Hope's bullets whiz past him, but Vincent's bullet grazes his right shoulder, tearing through the coat and drawing blood, and he takes 1 point of superficial damage. So it's come to this, Vincent! He says, smiling, his teeth glowing bright white in the dim light, his fangs bared.
Vincent just barely even looks at him and he says, "Yep, sure has," and fires another round.
Fires another round. Alright. Hope, what would you like to do?
This guy's badass. I'm going to act like I'm trying to get some distance on him, like I'm afraid of him getting close, and put some bullets toward him.
Yep.
But I'm not trying to hit him, I'm just trying to sell that.
Yeah, just try to distract him. Alright.
Oh no, I'm trying to feign weakness, so he decides, hey, maybe it's a good idea to get
Yeah.
him longer.
So I will ask Hope to do a charisma performance check.
I am wearing another face. 3 successes.
3 successes. Very well. I'll roll his insight. So I'll give resolve plus insight. Gives him
I
a
thought Vince
dice,
was a good investor, it can't be too high.
dice pool of 7. 1 success, even with his dice pool of 7. He's going to spend a willpower.
Hey, that's fine. If I can drain some resources.
And he ends up with 2 successes. Okay, so, yep. Chimera, what are you doing?
She's going to be activating fire weapons.
Yep. So rouse the blood.
She gets hungry, that's hunger 4.
Yep, and then I presume you're going to be rushing right at him with your weapons.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
As your fingers elongate and your nails curl outwards, forming sharp talons. You lock eyes with him and rush forwards as he readies his weapon. And Derek, what are you doing?
Going to, take all the gunfire as a distraction and try and, flank around him and stick my blood-coated blade in his side.
Ah, yes. You open your mouth and with a spit your scorpion blood onto your little silver blade, and you're going to try to sneak around. So I will ask Derek to go ahead and make a Dex melee check to sneak around.
Cool, I am going to buff Dex. Damn. Well, that's a failure on the buff, so I get hungrier. Well, it's 3 successes.
3 successes, okay. And I will ask Chimera to make a strength brawl check and Vince to make a composure firearms check.
Yes, sir. 2 successes.
2 successes.
3 successes, but I think I might spend a willpower on that. That brings up to 5.
5? Okay.
Nice.
So he's about ready to fire his gun at Chimera again, but then he sees Hope dashing across the field, firing her gun wildly and making a show of screaming loudly her battle cry, "Ah!" as she fires her gun seemingly blindly. You see him sneer as he whirls around, points his gun in her direction, and fires. Hope, go ahead, make a Dex Athletics check for me.
Well, not what I was planning, but hey, that's okay. Things don't always go as planned, and Dex is boosted. 5. Really, it's a specialty about dodging. You know what? I'm gonna willpower that one.
Yeah.
That's 3 successes.
3 successes? That's 8 successes from him. You
I
take
get full of bullets.
You take 3 points of superficial damage as he riddles you with Thompson fire. The silencer straining under the constant gunfire. And the gunshots slowly getting louder as the rubber begins to fall apart.
Yeah, I go down hard.
Oh,
I am now hindered.
yeah, you're now injured, yeah. So you're
I
impaired.
still have 2 ag on my health track, so...
You're impaired. Yeah, so you hit the dirt. Ugh. And
I'm gonna play dead.
Yep. You fall to the ground and
I
do
will
your
get
best attempt at pretending to go into torpor, stiffening up, crawling forwards, holding out your hand. No! And then collapsing onto the polished floorboards.
I don't
So-
quietly heal 1, getting hungrier as I do.
So he's going to attempt to defend against Vince now. Vince fires first. So that's going to be Dex plus Athletics for him. So that's 6. That is 3 successes. He laughs. I never got around to teaching you how to shoot properly, did I, Vince? As your bullet whizzes over his shoulder.
It's gonna play that off like it was a deliberate miss.
Yep.
And he's gonna say, "Yeah, warning shot."
Meanwhile, Derek and Chimera are still closing the distance. We move on to the next round. He sneers at you, Vincent, and he says, "This is your last chance. Come back to the fold, and the new prince will reward you. Surely you see Taylor's time has come."
Vince is just sort of stands there, stunned for a moment at what has just been said, and then he's like, Did you just hear what you just said, mate?"
He raises the Thompson. For just a moment, he's puzzled. As if he can't quite understand what you're saying. And he says, "What do you mean? I know where my loyalties lie."
Which is it? He's gonna reward me, or his time's come?
The new prince, Vince. The new prince. Thornton. He smiles.
Ah, I see. And then Vince fires another round.
Never were one for politics. So he sees Chimera coming, and as Chimera's rushing towards him, he locks eyes with her, and he's going to use his Declare Weakness, which is a level 2 Dominate. He rouses his blood, gets hungrier, goes up to Hunger 3. Chimera, I'd like you to make a Composure plus Intelligence, please.
Can do. 2 successes.
2 successes.
Oh dear.
Okay, so Dominate plus Manipulation. That gives him a dice pool of only 4. He's not very good at this. But he got 3 successes, so he got just enough. He locks eyes with Chimera, and his eyes flare up, glowing bright yellow, gleaming like light bulbs in the dim light. And he says, "You think I'm afraid of a mutt like you? You think those talons scare me? Someone who's seen friends bleed out and die on some dirt across the ocean?"
Vince sees red when he calls her a mutt.
Yeah.
And
That's why I chose the word.
he just says in a raised but not yelling voice, "Don't you dare call her that."
And he reduces Chimera's strength by 2 dots.
Ouch.
Okay. So Hope, you're just lying on the floor hoping he'll think you're dead?
I'm doing something else, if I may.
Go
Since
ahead.
his attention is distracted by monologuing, I'm going to try to quietly call more bats.
Call more bats, okay.
With the command to attack this bozo.
Yep.
I'm also, since I succeeded on rousing to do that, gonna rouse to heal, and I heal another one.
So you're getting slightly better. You're no longer impaired, as one of the bullet holes seals up and the bullet is discharged. Tling!
I'm gonna rouse charisma for this too. Yeah, I get hungry on that one, but that's okay. So that's a messy critical 7 to get all the goddamn bats on him.
Yeah, messy critical. So you summon as many bats as you can, your blood calling to them. And I'll get to that in a moment. I would like Chimera. So Chimera, how many successes did you get on your strength brawl from last round?
Let me check that. I think 2.
2. Alright.
Yeah, 2.
2. And Derek, how many did you got? 3 on your dex melee check, I believe.
Yes.
Okay. Vincent, go ahead, make a composure firearms check.
Yep. 2 successes. I'm gonna willpower that one though.
Go ahead.
Which makes it... Oh, motherfucker, it makes it 2.
Okay, so he's gonna aim his gun and fire at Chimera as she's coming directly for him. And because her strength is now reduced by 2, she goes down to 1 success. And that's 4 successes for him. Chimera, your fortitude reduces this to 1 point of superficial damage as you run towards him and slash with your talons. But your strength just isn't there. Somehow his words, even though they're just words, have held you back. You scratch the tip of his thick coat with your talons, tear at the fabric, but then he pulls himself away, laughing. He's going to attempt to dodge Derek. And he gets a total failure. So that's 2 shots for Derek. So that's +2 from a pistol, halved to 2. So that's 2 points of superficial damage to him.
Cool.
But
So my stab hit him, yeah?
Yeah, in a sec.
Yeah.
He's going to make a rouse check. He fails, goes up to hunger 4, and he's going to use his level 3 fortitude ability, return to sender.
What?
So as your bullets hit him in the chest, Vince, he glares at you and then he closes his eyes, clenches his fists, and grunts. And then all of a sudden his chest muscles bulge and the bullets are expelled from his flesh.
Oh my god.
Back in your direction.
He just flexed at you, literally.
So if you'd like to try to dodge, make a Dex Athletics, and he's going to make a Stamina plus Fortitude roll.
Yeah, you got it.
Oh
It's,
my god.
Didn't know it was
I
made of
didn't
rubber.
realize.
He's rubber and you're glue.
1 success, I'm gonna burn another willpower.
Go ahead.
Side note, I just realized I did
Critical 5.
Hang
I
on.
didn't actually roll to attack.
Oh,
previously.
okay.
I
Well, we'll
accidentally
do that.
used my,
We'll do that now. How many
composure.
did you get, Vince, just now?
Critical 5.
Critical 5. And he got exactly 5 successes himself. So the bullet flies through the air. Pew! And you're stunned for a moment. You've never seen anything like this. You're almost in disbelief.
If I may,
Yep.
I would like to take advantage of the critical to try and close the gap toward him.
Yep. So you're just going to rush towards him as the bullet flies towards you. As soon as you shake yourself into action, you lower your head, start sprinting towards him, and the bullet that's ricocheted off his body flies over you, grazing your right shoulder, tearing your dinner jacket and dealing 1 point of superficial damage. But you do close the distance between you and him. Chimera, go ahead and roll a strength brawl, please.
Yeah, no problems. Yeah, before I accidentally was looking at my awareness composure roll.
Yep. Awareness composure. Right, yep. Go ahead, make a strength brawl.
That's a 5, minus the 2 for the lower
That's a
strength.
5, so that actually, 5 minus a 2. Well,
So that's 3.
yeah, 3. Yeah, so same result, same overall result. Meanwhile,
no problem.
Derek, you get the drop on him. He gets a penalty die on his attempt to defend, and so that's 2 penalty die because he gets 1 for defending against multiple people and another for catching him by surprise. So you got 3 successes, and he's going to make a Dex athletics check to get out of the way, giving him a total dice pool of 4. That is 1 success. He whirls around just in time to see you, but not quickly enough to get out of the way as you lunge forwards and bury your blade in the side of his neck. Go ahead for me and make a strength plus blood sorcery, please.
Yep.
He'll go against his stamina plus occult. He doesn't have any occult, so just his stamina, which is 4.
I'm going to willpower that. That's a lot better. So it's 4 successes.
4 successes. Nice. Non-halved superficial damage equal to the margins of success. He got 1 success. You deal 3 points of superficial damage to him as the poison eats into his skin, leaving nasty red welts, sizzling the surface of it. He winces in pain, and he's going to make a rouse check to activate his toughness. He passes. He activates his toughness and reduces it to 1 point of superficial damage.
Yeah.
It's at this point that
May I
all...
make a suggestion?
Yep, go ahead.
May I make a suggestion for the Messy Grit? Gloating.
Go ahead.
Oh, you idiot. Says Hope, standing up and shutting her form to gloat. Moving out of safety. You took your eye off the Tznitzi. As her face... And then she points up.
Yep. And above you, you all become aware of this tapping sound coming from above. Palmer stops for just a moment. And you follow his gaze upwards to the skylight above. Hope, you summoned bats, did you not?
Sure did.
You have not summoned a swarm of bats. Rather, the moonlight in the skylight is blotted out by a single bat that is easily the size of a large dog.
Oh my god. What?
You have no idea what this bat is or where it came from, but its eyes are glimmering bright red, flickering like flames as it raps upon the glass again and again. A hairline crack forms, and then it raises its claw and batters down one more time, and the skylight shatters open with a crash. Shards of glass raining down upon all of you.
It has its orders, regardless of whether or not you kill me. So if you want, you might want to start running, buddy.
Elliot bares his teeth. And ignoring all of you, he raises his Thompson to the monstrosity above and begins to fire. At this point, the silencer finally pops, and the gym is filled with the echoing, ear-splitting sound of rattling gunfire. Bang, 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 bang! Bang, 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 bang! I'm gonna roll for the, guards that are outside with the burning truck to see if any of them hear the gunfire and decide to come to his assistance. Well, they only have dice pool of 2 for their mental.
Uh-oh.
Which means they need to get
quality.
0 successes. Yeah, they're obviously the sound of the raging flames drowns out the echoing gunfire coming from within the stadium as this huge bat bears down on Palmer, flapping its wings, its unnatural eyes glimmering bright red, and as it descends, it opens its mouth and reveals each of its teeth is a pointed, sharp fang. Hope, as you see this monstrosity descend, you're vaguely aware of your beast purring in your chest. Yes, yes, yes. Fresh meat, fresh blood. You were gazing at your beast incarnate. Go ahead for me, Hope, and make a manipulation plus animalism check, and you get 3 bonus dice.
This is weird, but okay.
Huh?
Sounds weird, I'm in.
4 successes.
4 successes. So, Elliot's gonna buff his dexterity. He fails. He goes up to hunger 5 and rolls 2 successes as he attempts to riddle this thing with bullets. The bullets shred its flesh and its fur, but it seems to not notice. It descends upon him and buries its mouthful of fangs into his neck, its talons into his shoulders. He screams as he pulls himself away, and its talons rip flesh from his body. He takes 2 points of aggravated damage.
I might want to get in there. He's pretty tough.
What would you all like to do now? And he doesn't have Defy Bane. He has returned to sender instead, so he's taking this aggravated damage.
Chimera's gonna get in close for the speciality of grappling.
Yep.
Pin him down. Smack his head on the ground.
Alright. Vince?
You know what? Vince is going for an entrance.
On his own Sire. And Derek, what are you doing?
I'm now deciding if I want to see if Vince's entrance works or if I want to end this.
You can wait and see what happens.
I'm going to be holding action to call the bat off the second he goes into torp.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Alright. Vince, as Chimera rushes forwards, preparing her talons to hook them into his flesh and pull him to the ground, you step forwards, lock eyes with him, and as he looks towards you, you see something on his face that you've never seen before. Fear, as he stares at this monstrous bat that's getting ready to descend upon him once again. As he whirls around, sees Derek raising his silver dagger and Chimera moving in with her talons. He looks towards you, Vince, and he says, "Help me, my child! Help me!"
Vince just smiles as he goes for the entrance.
Alright,
What's the roll again?
in trance, I'm just about to get it up. It is, for you, charisma plus presence versus his composure plus wits.
May I add looks?
You may add your looks to this. So he's going to get a
Alright.
dice pool of 6. I'm going to give him a penalty die because he's trying to fight off the bat.
That's a pool of 8 for me then.
Pool of 5 for him.
I got 3 successes. I'm gonna reroll.
Go ahead.
Oh, motherfucker! 3 successes.
2 successes for him. He locks eyes with you. And suddenly, it seems as if you are the only two in the room. Chimera rushing towards him, Derek closing in with his dagger, this great bat flapping its monstrous wings, about to dive down for the kill. They are nothing. They are gone. There's just you and him standing face to face in this dark basketball court. What do you do, Vincent?
Vincent sort of looks at him for a moment. And he says, "Come on, baby. I'll keep you safe." With a little come hither motion.
And that is enough to shatter his last remaining point of willpower. He's impaired. He looks towards you and he nods. You'll keep me safe. Yes, that's why. I always knew you would be there for me. And that's
Just come
when
here.
Chimera dives upon him. Chimera, make a strength brawl check, add a specialty dice for your grapple. And he's going to have a extra penalty dice because he's impaired with his willpower.
That is a grand total of 2.
Grand total of 2. You've still got a good chance because he's going with a strength. He doesn't have brawl, so he's just rolling straight strength. Wait, he does have brawl. He has brawl 2. So he's got a dice pool of 4. He's getting a penalty die for the bat, which brings it to 3. He's getting a penalty die for being impaired from lack of willpower, which brings it to 2, leaving him with a dice pool of 2. That is 1 success. You sink your talons into him and pull him to the ground. He screams, "Ah! Ah!" as you dig your talons into his neck. Pull him down onto the floorboards and press your weight down onto his body. He doesn't
She
go into
screams.
torpor, but he rolls his eyes. His mouth wavers and he says, "I yield! I give up! I give up! I surrender! Prisoner of war!"
She screams in his ear, "Don't you ever fucking hurt Vincent, ever!"
It's okay, Chimera. Let him go. Let him go.
The
She beats
monstrous
his head
bat
into the ground
hovers in
once.
the air, surveying the scene, waiting for Hope's orders.
And Hope calls it down, beckoning it. It lands on her and wraps its wings around her like a great cloak.
As Chimera holds Palmer in place on the floor. He stares up at Vincent standing over him. My child! My child! Free me from this! Save me! Like I always knew you would!
Let him go, Matt.
Chimera reluctantly releases her grip from him. But takes her time letting the talons out.
You retract the talons. Palmer winces in pain. And then you stand. Palmer takes a point of superficial damage from you retracting the talons. And this impairs him. Whittling his final health point down. Yes, he had 8 health, by the way. He's stacked with stamina and fortitude.
Yeah.
But he's in no condition to fight now. He lies there on the floorboards, bleeding out, his blood seeping into the cracks between the floorboards. As Vincent steps over to him, his boots echoing throughout the empty gym.
Actually, at the sight of blood, Chimera's at a hunger of 4. Is that going to be a problem?
Go ahead, roll a hunger frenzy. You notice
Yeah, I
that he's
thought so.
bleeding. So it's going to be a willpower plus a third. It's going to be willpower plus a third of your humanity.
It's 2 successes.
2 successes. Your beast roars, "Drink him! Drink him! It's only fair! It's only fair you'd be sparing Vincent the burden!" But you fight it off. Clutch your body as hard as you can and watch as Vincent steps towards his sire. What do you do, Vincent, as your sire looks up into your eyes and he says, "My child, my child."
Vincent extends a hand to pull Elliot to his feet.
He reaches, grabs your hand, and winces as you help him to his feet. "My child, we can make this right," he says. We can make this right."
Yeah, we can. And then Vincent sinks his fangs into Elliot's neck.
Sinks his fangs. As Vince sinks his fangs into Elliot. Into Elliot, who does not struggle. The great bat perched on Hope's shoulders opens its mouth full of fangs, lets out a great roar that fills the gym, and then it spreads its wings, sensing that its purpose is fulfilled.
Oh, hold up my finger. Pen a quick note. And hair tie it to its bone.
And then, taking one last look at Hope, its eyes still glimmering, flickering red, it spreads its great wings and takes flight, departing through the skylight. As Elliot's moans turn into screams, as Vince pulls him to the ground and begins to drink him dry. Suddenly, Hope, you hear from outside a cacophony of screaming. "What the hell? What? How is it that big? Ah! It's coming! Ah!" And a rattle of gunfire as the bat slakes its thirst. Please add 2 stains to your tracker, Hope.
Oh.
And Vince, it is time. It is time. Hopefully you'll do better than Derek. You've incapacitated your sire. He doesn't struggle. He knows he should, but he loves you. He knows that he loves you. And so he lets you take it all. The last drop of his blood slides down your throat, sweeter than anything you've tasted. Your hunger is reduced to 0.
But
But there's more.
deep in his sire's neck, screams all around him. Vince can't help but remember that one fateful night. And he begins to cough. And then he begins to retch. And he lets go of Elliot.
Ooh. Fighting against
All
his beast.
his blood
His
runs over his face.
His beast that is roaring. Do it. Take what you are owed. Get your revenge. Vince, for perhaps the first time in his unlife, isn't bound by his beast. He closes his ears to its enthusiastic, bloodthirsty roars, its calls to enact the amaranth. And he retracts his teeth from Palmer's flesh just as it begins to putrefy, turn stony grey, and his sire gasps one more time. My child! As his eyes roll back in their sockets, and he enters torpor.
Vince just kneels there for a while, heaving.
Chimera crouches down next to him and places a transfigured arm and hand on his shoulder and says, "You made the right choice, dude. That guy's fucking gross."
Yeah. Tastes like shit.
And with that, the session comes to an end. Palmer is down. Just Thornton to go. As you look around, scanning the empty gym, you see it. Almost hidden in the shadows under one of the bleachers. A metal hatch. A trapdoor. Thornton's last refuge. You each receive 5 experience points for this session. In addition, I believe everybody has humanity checks they need to roll. So
Oh, yeah.
Derek,
No time.
Chimera,
Yeah,
and
have one
Vince all
stain.
have 1 stain each, and Hope has 2.
Oh,
There's
did
no
Chimera
time
get
to
one
phone a
for
friend,
the
is there?
Yeah, Chimera got 1 for
downtime?
yeah, for when you sort of goaded Alia into murdering an entire coffee
Oh,
shop.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whoops.
So go ahead, roll for them now, because I would think with what's just happened, this is the perfect time to see whether the darkness grows within you.
I would
Oh,
like
so what's
to
the
ask
roll?
a favor, though.
Go ahead.
Letting the bat go was probably the best of 2 bad choices, because the alternative was killing it or restraining it, and
Yeah.
that would have...
So you may remove 1 stain.
Alright, thank you.
You've all got 1
Sir-
stain. So just roll the humanity you have left that isn't a stain.
Well, roll the difference between them.
Yeah.
Just
So
use-
it's rolling the remaining.
Yeah, so for you to be 6, because you're at humanity 7. And we only need 1 success.
6. Okay.
Yeah,
2 successes.
2 successes.
Success of 2 for me as well.
Derek? Oh,
Oh, it's, yeah, it's the unfilled boxes, isn't it?
yeah, unfilled boxes. So you're at humanity 6 now, I believe. So
Yep.
yeah, 5
That's
for you.
3. Oh, 5, okay.
Oh wait, no, it's not. Yeah, it's 3. Sorry, 3.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ooh, critical 4 for Derek.
Ooh, nice. And hope?
A success means I remain myself.
Yeah.
For a little while longer.
You
And I'm
spilled...
slightly mollified by the fact everyone up there was probably doing something horrible anyway.
You spilled a lot of blood tonight. Leading up to tonight. But it was all in service of the greater good. To find Thornton, to bring him in, and prevent the kindred community from spiraling into chaos. And it's not as if you didn't try to spare people when you could. You took no lives, save one getting in here. And when Vince's beast called out to him, so desperately calling upon him to commit diablerie, he resisted the call. The darkness within your hearts remains as it is. So, next session, heading into Thornton's domain, dealing with him either by apprehending him or talking him down, and then it's time for the final Elysium session of the campaign. That's next time in The Puppet Master, Part 3 of Reap the Whirlwind.